How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Continues to Tick. We have made it. We have made it to $10,000 in portfolio size. And it's a nice milestone to reach for sure. You know, the journey's going to be long. Technically, it's infinite, or I guess finite. Technically, we don't live forever. But I don't plan to sell. I never plan to sell anything in this portfolio. Sure, I may swap in some company for another, but overall, the portfolio itself and the size, I'm not planning to sell chunks and pieces here and there of it. My strategy is strictly the dividend growth portfolio strategy. It's not the growth stock investing strategy. It's all about the passive income. For me, it's all about producing that passive income pillow, So reaching a $10,000 portfolio size, it's exciting. It's exciting for sure. I just want to give a brief introduction to those that are new to the channel. I've noticed a couple new subscribers, which I think is really cool. So definitely welcome to the channel. I have a lot of ideas in store for this channel. At the moment, I'm simply focusing on this series of growing a dividend growth portfolio. My channel is all about thinking about time, thinking about the future. Those are two things that I'm really fascinated with. And hopefully it starts to come to surface, those two things that I enjoy when you come to my channel. This is like my verbal diary per se. It's a way for me to track my process regarding my dividend growth portfolio or other things, as I implement them into the channel. It's a way to track my process, hold myself accountable, and in a darker tone, in a way to leave a piece of me online or behind, if you will. But with this dividend growth portfolio series specifically, I just want to show that with discipline, a systematic game plan, and time on your side, it can be done. That you can grow a nice portfolio and eventually utilize it to retire early, nicely, or even at all. I'm sure a lot of us are like-minded in the sense that neither of us want to work forever. I'm sure we can all think of many people who've had that, unfortunate circumstance. But don't get me wrong, there's some people, they enjoy working and they would not mind working forever. But as for me, I know I'm not in that club. I don't want to work forever. Or if I am technically quote-unquote working, I want it to be something where I don't feel like I am working. I'm a registered nurse, don't get me wrong. I really enjoy my job. But for me, I still see it as a job that's making me money and it's producing income for me. And maybe it's just the way I look at my job, but currently that's just how I feel. I'm sure there's other people that regarding their personal line of work, they may feel the same way. It's not that they don't enjoy it, but it's just a livelihood. And potentially you may be doing something else. You may see yourself doing something else and still feeling the same way. It's just a source of income. But in this video, I'm going to start with the portfolio review in honor of our nice milestone today. And I'll also specifically go slightly more into depth into, some statistics of my portfolio now that it's at the size of $10,000. And eventually I'll close with some remarks with what I think are the most important things to keep in mind when you're going with the dividend growth investing strategy. So let's begin. So here we are for the portfolio review this week. $10,300, a return of 12.57%. which is a gain of $600 approximately, and all time we're in the green. And this last week, and even the week before more so, it's been a good week in the market. There's been a lot of news of vaccines coming out. The presidential election is kind of solidifying a bit more. The overall market is good. There is a little eerie tone in the background regarding potential lockdowns again. I know here in California, some places are already locking down, so it's going to be interesting to see how the market reacts this time around. But so far, that's kind of in the background. It hasn't really reached the forefront. I'm kind of expecting that to come here pretty soon. It's just my guess. Hopefully I'm wrong. But here we are crossing the $10,000 mark, $10,300. That excites me. That's nice. And just to show you here for the day, red. For the week, a little bit of red. For the month, we're in the green, 5.7% return, about $500 return. But I'll take it. I will take it. All time, we're in the green and we're up quite a bit. Like I always say, if you're interested in seeing what I'm holding, you can definitely check out the description box below. There's going to be a link to sharing my pie. You can see everything that I'm holding in each of the sectors that I have allocated by percentage. I really don't like diving deep into that in these videos. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a financial planner, and there's definitely better channels on YouTube that go really in depth in regards to what you should or shouldn't buy and things like that. I don't feel completely comfortable going down that alley, especially since the main point of this video is just to really show a documentation that just the average investor, the average person who's learned from YouTube, from websites, searching, learning about investing that way, just to show that the average person can go ahead and build a portfolio, do some homework, build your portfolio, and hopefully eventually have a good outcome. So the systematic steps are in place. At least I think they are for me. But as for the activity this week, here we go. Starting on the 16th, we got paid by Alliant Energy Corp. I don't know why it splits it up, but nevertheless, here we are. We got paid by them. We also got paid by Procter & Gamble. And as you can see here, we have some weird stuff going on. So I know I said I never sell, but technically I still didn't sell. What happened was Pfizer, they ended up having a merger. You can look up the article. They had some company that kind of had a stock split from Pfizer. If you were holding Pfizer, they were going to give you another company. And I believe this company was called Viatris, Viatris Inc. So I was holding Pfizer, and here on M1 Finance, they gave me some shares. And because they have fractional shares, that's what they gave me. And that same day, or technically was it the next day? Here it's showing the 18th. So the next day or so, the next morning, I ended up selling it. So what ended up happening was on my M1 Finance account and my Jesse's cash flow portfolio, I never added this company into it. They just gave me the shares on the day before. My portfolio, automatically was like, what is this? You don't have it in your portfolio at all. We're just going to sell it off. And that's totally fine with me. I usually don't like selling anything. I could have just held on to it, but honestly, I don't know anything about this company. I'm not 100% interested in this company. So there's really no point for me to have kept it in my portfolio anyways. It did sell it off, and that's why there's a little bit of wonky stuff here. At the end of it, I got $11. I'm going to have to report on my taxes later, but I'll deal with that as it comes. But technically I have to report my dividend income anyway, so hopefully M1 Finance gives me a nice sheet at the end that makes it really simple. But as you can see here also on the 19th, which was Thursday, another $500 deposit, and then with this sell-off and the snowball that has been forming, we got $517, and we bought into 46 companies this week just to balance out the portfolio a little more based on the percentages that I have in each sector. So that's pretty much it for the portfolio review. Here we are at $10,300. Let me show you guys really quickly the actual facts about how much this portfolio is actually yielding right now in terms of dividends. So here we are at the Jesse's cash flow portfolio. It has this nice little fun thing that it shows, over a 5-year period, how much return I would get based on these stocks that I've been holding. And they're all, for the most part, blue chips. So of course, in my opinion, I would think it would remain in the green. I did my homework when I chose these companies, but it's still pretty interesting to see. And if you scroll down here, you can see I'm holding 51 companies, and this portfolio right now is yielding, about 3%, almost 3.1%. And the expense ratio is really, really small, which is what I like. I don't want that to be too high. So if you're curious, this was the dividend yield. So now with the portfolio review out the way, I'm going to kind of transition over into an app that I use. It's an app that I'll kind of show you so I can provide a slightly more in-depth look into my portfolio. It's called the Div Tracker. I'm not sponsored nor affiliated with them. I've just chosen their app and I've really enjoyed it for myself. So as you can see here, it's the Jesse's cash flow portfolio, and it's pretty similar to my portfolio that I showed you on M1 Finance. You can see the 10,299. It's pretty close to 10,300. It happens to not be identical. I do have to, manually update the information on this app. It's the one downfall just because it does take time, but it's pretty close. And with that, we can kind of go off of some cool statistics. So as you can see, even on here, it says I'm holding 51 stocks. I have $9,700 invested. And then if we go down here, you can see the annual dividend income. Right now it's $313 per year, annual income, and monthly, when you divide that up, it's $26 a month. For whatever reason, it's saying it's yielding 3.22, but I also know that on M1 Finance, the dividend yield percentage that it states, it's always a little weird. Sometimes it changes from morning to afternoon, so I take it with a grain of salt. And on here on the Div Tracker, I'll also take it with a grain of salt, but somewhere around 3% is what this portfolio is yielding. But $26 a month with $10,000 invested, some people would say, it's not worth it. But with time, the portfolio is going to increase. The snowball is going to increase. The compounding, the eighth wonder of the world. Those are all things that I'm waiting on. I can see myself looking into the future and seeing a lot of that come with time. So I'm looking forward to it. It takes time. And having time on your side helps a lot. But another cool thing is the composition down there. It's something that they updated on the app. And I've been taking a look at it. It's pretty interesting. So Apple's actually at 3.4% of my portfolio. So there's the growth. There's the growth in my portfolio if anyone tries to come at me. Pretty cool little app. If you're interested, check it out. I think you do have to pay for it. I paid for it. I don't remember exactly how much, but it's a nice thing to look at from time to time. So just to close out the video, I do want to say, a quick tip to those that are thinking about, starting, or those that are actually going through a dividend growth investing strategy and trying to build that portfolio size. One that's going to provide a nice passive source of income in the future, one to retire early from, one to hopefully retire from. I know there's people that just never retire, so you're thinking about the future, and that's great. For me, what I've noticed, just to reach the $10,000 portfolio size, it takes discipline. It takes a systematic course of action. It takes a game plan. You have to remain disciplined. Right now, I'm investing $500 every week. Like I've said before in my previous videos, I'm very fortunate enough to be in that position, and I do know that. That pace is pretty quick. $500 a week is $2,000 a month, and that's a lot of money. I definitely don't take that for granted, but that's a lot of money that I would rather have going into this portfolio than to a payment, on a nice Ford Bronco, which I do want, or like a Tesla Cybertruck, or just a Tesla at all. I don't have enough money for real estate, but eventually I do want to build a nice down payment and actually purchase a house or a rental property, build some equity in it. That's another step into my overall plan to hopefully retire early. In addition to that, I do work for the state of California, so I'm building up a pension. But the pension's not one thing I can control. Who knows what will happen to California? I'm just wedging my bet there that hopefully when I go to retire, I may get a pension. But the one thing I can control is saving up for a down payment for a house and funneling money into this dividend growth portfolio. Staying disciplined, staying the course, and ultimately having a plan of action, having a game plan, and following through with it. Stay consistent, don't give up, just follow it through. Hold yourself accountable. But don't forget the emergency fund. Don't forget the emergency fund. I do have mine. It's not huge, but it's enough. It'd be enough to get me through about 6 months or so. So those are just a couple tips. My portfolio size is small. I still have a lot to learn along the way, but those are just some things that I've learned to get to this point. One important thing that I forgot to mention is that I did start this portfolio for those that are curious, because I am at $10,000 now. I started this portfolio not too long ago. I started it on July 20th of the year 2020, which is this year. And I initially started it with an investment of $650. I eventually started playing with, how much I can invest each week, and I went from $350 to eventually settling on $500 a week. So that's going to wrap it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it served as some source of motivation. It's a way for me to hold myself accountable. I enjoy watching other people's progress. I enjoy watching my progress, and I really enjoy making these videos. Expect some nice things to come with this channel. Expect me to not stop making this series. There'll be a video every single week regarding this portfolio. It's just a documentation of my journey to hopefully retire earlier than I can even imagine, and for you guys to hopefully do the same. So that's going to be it for this week's video. I am rambling now. I will see you guys next week. Have a good weekend. Thanksgiving is next week, so that's exciting. A couple days off for me. Hopefully for you as well. See you then. Peace.